Welcome back to Phoenix English classes. We are going to continue with the same story, The Enemy, that is prescribed in class 12 CBSE board. It is a story that you will find in the book Vistas. Up to now, we have read that an American soldier was found by a Japanese doctor and his wife. He was washed ashore in front of their house where there was seacoast. He was struggling for life. He was struggling to live, although there is nothing revealing his body. This was a hard time because war was on. It was going on between Japan and America. It was the time of Second World War. The problem or the question, if the Japanese couple should save the life of an American soldier or not, what to do or not to do, because it was as big a question as we say in general, to be or not to be. That was not only the question of that soldier's life and death, but it was a question of the existence of Sadao, Dr. Sadao, and his wife. Everything could have been perished, could have been destroyed if it was found out that they were tending, they were giving treatment, trying to save the life of an enemy soldier who was a fugitive also. But ultimately they took the decision of being the kind-hearted human being and well-rooted in their profession that had taught them the life of a man comes first. The rest of the things, the prejudice of nation, the prejudices of race, of class, of creed, of origin, that is secondary or tertiary or not at all to be considered by a doctor. They carried the man and started to give him treatment in their own house. And on the very starting, the problem cropped up as soon as the servants came to know about this fact that the masters were tending and attending a man who was of the enemy army, the enemy country. They were all against the idea of giving him any kind of aid or any kind of shelter or treatment. They opposed openly. The maid, whose name is Yumi, talked with the lady, with the house lady, in so stubborn a manner that the lady was afraid. But the decision was taken and the couple was strict with the decision. When it came to the responsibilities of the household keepers, the household servants, they started plainly denying the things. And the beginning, we can see at the time of washing the man, when the maid servant Yumi is ordered to wash the man, she plainly denies, and there is a kind of a stubbornness on her face. Seeing all such indignity, all such things that could not have been thought even in dreams, Hannah, in her mind, takes some decision. And now she is angry rather than being afraid of the white man and she was not angry with him. She was angry with her own people. She was angry with her own son. Let's continue the chapter. In the conviction of her own superiority, she bent impulsively and untied the knotted rugs that kept the white man covered. This is the mental state, this is the inner agony of the lady Hannah that is being depicted here in her action. She had a superiority. She felt the superiority of her being the lady of the house. This time not her being the Japanese. The change has come. Under the superiority of her being the lady of the house, as if she were trying to show Yumi that she was not dependent on her in any manner for any work. She bent over the man who was lying there. She undid the knots of the rugs. He was only clad in rugs because all the clothes were almost torn down. It was very dirty. We had already seen all these things. She unknotted the knots. Now, the whole chest of the man was there, and all these things, all these serving of the man was being done by Hannah impulsively. What she was doing was impulsive. She was firm in doing so. If you are not going to help me out, I do not require you at all. I can do it myself. When she had his breast bare, she dipped the small clean towel that Yumi had brought into the steaming hot water and washed his face carefully. Now she started doing the work herself. Up to now she was not agreed on this notion of washing a white man. Now she was doing the job herself because Yumi denied it. She opened the chest of the white man. She undid the upper cloths of the white man and started washing him with a towel, with a clean towel that was brought by Yumi in that boiling water. She started cleaning him. First, she cleaned the face of the man. When she started cleaning, the visage, the body, the complexion, everything was becoming more clear to Hannah. The man's skin, though rough with exposure, was of a fine texture and must have been very blonde when he was a child. As soon as she cleaned the face of the man, she could easily see that this man was a blonde man, was a white man, was very fair. Although his training of soldiering and his exposure to the environment, because the soldiers have to work in the open atmosphere, in the sun, in the rain, in the winter fog, every kind of weather they have to wear on their open body. They cannot save themselves from the sunlight, from being tanned or being a bit of faded complexion. They do not think about such things. But it was clear that wearing all these things, he was still fair. It was evident that as a child, he would have been a pure white child. He was blonde. His texture was very fine. He had a very good kind of a skin color. अब यहाँ पे हमको पता चलता है कि हाना ने यूमी तो चली गई और हाना ने ये दिखाने के लिए कि हम किसी भी कार्य के लिए नौकरों पर आश्रित नहीं। It was the time to prove to the servants and to prove herself कि हम आपसे काम अगर करवाते हैं तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम आपके ऊपर आश्रित हैं। और इसी डिग्निटी को महसूस करते हुए, इसी श्रेष्ठता के भाव को महसूस करते हुए उसने ये काम खुद करना शुरू किया, जिसको यूमी ने इनकार कर दिया था। यूमी ने मना कर दिया था कि मैं ऐसा नहीं कर सकती, आप लोग बड़े लोग हैं, आप लोग कुछ भी कर लीजिए, आप लोग देशद्रोह भी करेंगे तो शायद बच जाएंगे, लेकिन हम छोटे लोग हैं, हम अपने परिवार को, अपने जीवन को और अपनी राष्ट्रीयता को खतरे में नहीं डाल सकते हैं। वी आर पैट्रियट्स। और उसने काम करने से इनकार कर दिया था, श्रेष्ठता के भाव को महसूस करते हुए कि हम काम कर सकते हैं। घृणा भी थी उसके मन में। वो नीचे झुकी, उसने उस गोरे आदमी के कपड़ों की गांठ को खोला और उसके अपर क्लॉथ्स को अंडू किया, गांठों को खोलकर उसको ओपन किया ताकि उसकी सफाई की जा सके। और वो कपड़े क्या थे, वो तो फटे चिथड़े थे, हम लोग पहले भी पढ़ चुके हैं। और ऐसा करते हुए उसने उसके चेस्ट को पूरा खोल दिया ताकि वो सफाई कर सके। अब यूमी जो अंदर खोलते हुए पानी में स्टीमिंग वाटर में जो साफ तौलिया लेकर आई थी, उसको उसने उठाया और गर्म पानी में डुबो के और बड़ी सावधानी से सबसे पहले उसके चेहरे को साफ किया। और चेहरे को साफ करते समय ही यूमी को ये समझ में आ गया था कि ये व्यक्ति काफ़ी गोरा था और उस समय बहुत गोरा रहा होगा जब वो एक छोटा बच्चा था, क्योंकि अब तो सैनिक का कार्य करते हुए धूप और बरसात और छाँव को सहते हुए इसका कॉम्प्लेक्सन थोड़ा सा दबा दबा सा लग रहा है। लेकिन ये निश्चित था कि वो एक बेहद अच्छे स्किन कलर वाला एक गोरा इंसान था। हाँ, बचपन में ऐसा अक्सर होता है कि आपको हर तरह से प्रोटेक्ट रखा जाता है, तो जो फेयर कलर, जो आपका नेचुरल कलर है, वो वैसा ही नज़र आता है जैसा वास्तव में हो। लेकिन जैसे जैसे आप बड़े होते हैं, धूप छाँव को सहते सहते टैनिंग होती है, धीरे धीरे करके कॉम्प्लेक्सन में कुछ न कुछ परिवर्तन आता है। उस परिवर्तन के बावजूद वो एक गोरा व्यक्ति था। While she was thinking these thoughts, though not really liking the man better now that he was no longer a child, she kept on washing him until his upper body was quite clean. While doing this job, while cleaning the body of the man, the upper body of the man, she was thinking all these things. How would he look like when he was a child, how his complexion has become dull, how fair he was, how a good texture of his body was. All these things were coming to her mind. Although it doesn't mean she was liking the man, she still does not like the man. But up to now, she left that thought of hatred for the man. That was in the beginning when she said that let us throw him out once again into the sea to die. That thought was completely gone. She undid the cloths and started wiping him, and although he was not a child now, yet she was not disliking him, and she kept on washing him until his upper body was quite clean. And she went through his face to his waist and cleaned him perfectly. Now his upper body, the upper body of the man was quite clean. But she dared not turn him over. Upper body was clean, but it was not fully clean. It was only the front side of the body that was clean. And now she had to turn him back so that the back should also be clean. Where was Sada? Now, because it was the time to turn him from one side to the other so that the other part of the body, the posterior part of the body should also be clean. Now she thought that was Sada, because she cannot do it alone. If Sada were there, he would be helping her out in doing such things. Now her anger was heavy and she was anxious again, and she was wiping her hands on the wrong towel. Then, lest the man be chilled, she put the quilt over him. Sada was not there, he has not come back till now. And thinking this, that Sadao has gone out and he is waiting for the man to be clean, then he will start his process. He was behaving in the same manner as the surgeons do. They want everything ready. She became angry. Hana became angry at the behavior of Sadao. Her anger was ebbing and she was anxious again, and she rose. She was worried. She rose and she wiped her hands on the wrong towel. And in her utter anger, she wiped her own hands with wrong towel, with the towel with which she had washed the man. Then, lest the man be chilled, she put the quilt over him. And finally, she covered the man with the quilt once again. Otherwise, because his body was wet, he could catch cold. The man was still in boots. There were more chances of dying with anything that was not comfortable for the body. She knew it very well, that's why she put the quilt on him. Sadao, she called for him. And after doing this, she called Sadao. He had been about to come in when she called. His hand had been on the door and now he opened it. She saw that he had brought his surgeon's emergency bag and that he wore his surgeon's coat. As soon as she called Sadao, what happened there was amazing. Sadao was just outside the door. If she would not have called Sadao, Sadao would have entered the room because his hand was there on the handle of the door. And as soon as she said Sadao, Sadao opened the door and entered the room as soon as she called his name. His hand was there on the door and now he opened the door and entered. Sadao was in the uniform of the surgeon. He had his surgeon's bag in his hand. It means while she was washing the man, while she was cleaning the man, surgeon was preparing himself. The surgeon was preparing himself, Sadao. He was fully prepared to start the operation, to start the procedure of giving the man the best treatment he could give in such a condition. अब यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं कि जब वो सोच रही थी, उसको आदमी को साफ करते हुए सोच रही थी कि बचपन में बुरा रहा होगा, कैसा था इसके। अब तो वो बच्चा नहीं था, लेकिन कुछ भी हो तो पेशेंट था, उसको उसने साफ रखना जारी रखा। हालांकि वो अभी भी वो सोच तो उसके बारे में रही थी, लेकिन उसे घृणा नहीं कर रही थी। ये बात अलग है कि उसे पसंद भी नहीं कर रही थी। हाँ, उसने अपना काम जारी रखा और ये सब कुछ सोचती रही, और तब तक जब तक कि उसकी अपर बॉडी पूरी तरह से साफ नहीं हो गई, तो जो सामने का जो चेहरे से लेके और कमर तक का सामने का हिस्सा था वो साफ हो गया। लेकिन अब उसको बैक को साफ करने के लिए, पीठ को साफ करने के लिए उसे पलटना था, और ये खाना अकेले नहीं कर सकती थी। अब वो सोचती है कि सदाव कहाँ चला गया, और ये सोचती है कि सदाव मुझे अकेले छोड़ के बिल्कुल निश्चिंत होकर बाहर है। ये सोचते उसे फिर से गुस्सा आने लगा, उसका क्रोध फिर से बढ़ा। लेकिन अब वो महसूस कर रही थी कि उसका क्रोध बढ़ने के साथ साथ धीरे धीरे कम भी हो रहा था। दोबारा वो चिंता में पड़ी, लेकिन क्रोध कम होने में भी समय लगता है, और उसी गुस्से में उसने तौलिया उठाया और गलत तौलिए से हाथ पोंछने लगा। अगर आपको कभी किसी पेशेंट को साफ करना हो, उसको नहलाना हो, उसको वाटर बाथ देना हो, तो जिस तौलिए का इस्तेमाल पेशेंट के लिए करते हैं उसका इस्तेमाल अपने लिए नहीं करते। लेकिन उसने गलत तौलिया उठा लिया और उसी से अपना हाथ पोंछा, और वो जानने की कोशिश की कि कहाँ है सदाव को वहाँ पे होना चाहिए था। लेकिन वो अपने काम करने में भी बिल्कुल लापरवाही नहीं बरत रही है। उसने अपना हाथ पोंछा, हालांकि वो गलत तौलिया था, फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि वो कौन सा तौलिया था। फिर उसके बाद उसने उस क्विल्ट को, उस रजाई को उसे लिटा दिया, उसको उड़ा दिया, उसको पूरी तरह से कवर कर दिया ताकि इसे ठंड ना लग जाए। हर एक तरह की बाहरी चीज़ से उसको बचाना आवश्यक था, उसके जीवन के लिए ज़रूरी था। और फिर उसने धीरे से आवाज़ दी, सदाव। यानी अगर आसपास कहीं होगा सदाओ तो सुनेगा और चला आएगा। अभी उसने आवाज़ दी ही तब तक कमरे का दरवाज़ा खुला है। इसका मतलब ये है कि अधीर होकर वो अगर आवाज़ न देती सदाओ को, तभी सदाओ अभी अंदर आने वाला था, क्योंकि उसका हाथ जैसे दरवाजे पर ही था, उसने तुरंत दरवाज़ा खोला और अंदर आ गया। खैर अब तो अंदर आ चुका था, और जब अंदर आता है तो हाना देखती है कि पूरी तरह से तैयार हो गया है, प्रिपेयर हो गया है। उसके हाथ में सर्जन्स बैग है, उस बैग के अंदर उसके सर्जन वाले सारे इंस्ट्रूमेंट हैं। ये रीडिंग टू स्टार्ट द प्रोसीजर ऑफ ट्रीटिंग द मैन, गिविंग ट्रीटमेंट टू द मैन। आदमी को इलाज देने के लिए बिल्कुल तैयार है, और उसने वो सफ़ेद वाला कोट पहन रखा है जो सर्जन ऑपरेशन के समय पहनते हैं। वो इमरजेंसी वाला उसने कोट पहन रखा है, इमरजेंसी ड्यूटी वाले पूरी पोशाक में अब सदाओ आ चुका है। नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी। You have decided to operate, she cried. On seeing Sadao ready in emergency uniform, she understood the whole thing. She knew that the surgeon is now ready to operate the man. And she cried. She exclaimed, "Are you sure that you are going to operate the man?" "Yes," he said shortly. He turned his back to her and unfolded a sterilized towel upon the floor of the tokonoma alcove and put his instruments out of it. "Yes," this was the short reply which Sadao made. He said, "You are right, I am going to operate." That was the short reply she got. And saying this, he turned his back to her. He did not attend the wife, but he turned his back towards his wife, and now he was facing the man. And he unfolded a sterilized towel upon the floor of the tokonoma alcove, and he unfolded another piece of towel that was sterilized. There was an alcove, a heaved up part of the wall on which something can be placed. On the alcove, he put that towel and started putting every instrument that was needed for the operation on it. It means he was using the alcove, the tokonoma alcove, as the stand for his instruments, and to save it from being infected from the wall. On the wall there can be germs and bacteria. That's why he spread that sterilized towel on it. Then he started putting every instrument on it that he needed for the operation. Then he said, "Fetch towels," he said. After that short reply, "Yes, I am going to operate him," he started his work, and only one thing that he said, that was an order for Hana, and it was to go and fetch more towels. She went obediently, but how anxious now, to the linen shelves and took out the towels. There ought also to be old pieces of matting so that the blood would not ruin the fine floor covering. She went out to the back veranda where the gardener kept strips of matting with which to protect delicate shrubs on cold nights, and took an armful of them. And because the order was given, Hana had to obey, and she was willing to obey. She went out, but she was worried also. She was very anxious also. She went to the other room. There were many towels and many cloths that could be used for the operation. And there she felt the old pieces of matting also, in order that if the procedure that was going to be followed, that was going to be carried on, if there is any possibility of blood coming out on the floor and it may spoil the mattress, she she took the old pieces of the mat so that she can put it down to save the floor and the mattress from being spoiled with blood and stains and all these things of the process that was inevitably to be happening. She wanted to protect her floor. This is the general tendency of the women. They are more cautious, they are more anxious about the household things than the life itself. And especially when it is the life of an individual. That is very easy to understand what she was thinking about. Then she went out in the veranda where the gardener kept the useless things, the strips of matting that he used at the time when it was chilling cold and he has to protect the flowers and saplings and small trees from the cold waves. In such times, a mattress is to be clad on the plants also to save them from being cold and dying of cold. She wanted those mattress also so that it can be put under that man to save the mattress of the room and the floor itself from being stained from blood and other things. But when she came back after all these arrangements, she was at a loss. When she came back with all these things, she was carrying it in her both arms. In both her arms, she had a handful of things, armful of things. And when she enters the room, what she finds, but when she went back in the room, she saw this was useless. The blood had already soaked through the packing in the man's womb and had ruined the mat. She was doing all these provisions. She was collecting all these. Although Sadao had asked only for the towels, more towels for the treatment that was required there for the man. But Hannah, because she had also common sense, she used it. The common sense was not for the sake of the patient, that was not to save the patient's life, but the common sense was to save the floor and the mattress from being spoiled. That's why she did not come as soon as it was required, it was desired. She went in the veranda, she went to the other cupboards and found the old pieces of cloths, old mattresses so that it can be spread under that man so that nothing should be spoiled there in the room and its decoration. But when she came back after all these Herculean tasks, what she found was very bad. She was at a loss. What was done, that was to be done. But when she went back into the room, she saw this was useless. What she had provisioned for, all of her endeavors went in vain. The blood had already soaked through the packing in the man's wound and had ruined the pad under him. The procedure was already begun. Sadao did not wait for long. He started the procedure of the operation, and the blood that was coming, streaming out of the man's body, that was coming out from the packing of the wound, and it was soaking into the mattress just below the man. That was the fine mattress spread on the floor of the room. Everything was spoiled. All the task, all the endeavor of Hannah to save the mattress and the floor was spoiled. अब यहाँ क्या हुआ, बड़ा दिलचस्प एपिसोड है यहाँ पे एक ऐसे बातों को सामने लाया गया है जिससे दोनों चरित्रों के बीच थोड़ा सा जो अंतर है, इतनी अच्छी समझबूझ के बावजूद वो सामने आता है. इट हैपेंस. पहले तो जैसे ही सदाओ को उसने देखा, हाना ने देखा कि वो ऑपरेशन करने के लिए तैयार हो गया है, चिल्लाई, अरे ऑपरेशन करने जा रहे हो. सदाओ ने ज़्यादा कुछ एक्सप्लेनेशन दी नहीं, उसने कहा तो छोटा सा उत्तर दिया, कहा ऑपरेशन करने नहीं जा रहा हूँ, और तुरंत उसकी तरफ से मुड़ा, आदमी को अटेंड करने लगा, अपने पेशेंट को अटेंड करने लगा. उसने जल्दी से वहाँ पर दीवार में जो है अक्लोक निकली हुई थी, छोटा सा उसको बाहर निकली हुई कोई भी चीज़ जो दीवार से है जो सपोर्ट दे सके, छोटी सी अलमारी की तरह उसको ताक करके उसके ऊपर एक स्टरलाइज तौलिया बिछाया, उसके ऊपर अपने इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स को रखने लगा, यानी ही वॉज गोइंग टू स्टार्ट द प्रोसीजर। और इतना करते हुए उसने ये भी कहा कि तुम और तौलिए ले आओ, इसकी जरूरत पड़े। इतना कहा, हाना ने तुरंत आज्ञा का पालन किया, वो तुरंत वहाँ से निकली, लेकिन वो बड़ी चिंतित थी कि ऑपरेशन करने जा रहे हैं, इसका मतलब कमरे में खून फैलेगा तो मैट्रेस में सूख जाएगा, फर्श पे पहुंच जाएगा, दाग धब्बे लग जाएंगे, पूरी कालीन खराब हो जाएगी। She was thinking like that, as the household lady thinks. इस समय उसे मरीज के ऊपर फर्श की और अपने कालीन की चिंता थी। खैर, उसने क्या किया, उसने सिर्फ तौलिए ही नहीं लिए, कमरे के अंदर से जो पुरानी मैट्रेस वगैरह के टुकड़े पड़े हुए थे उसको लिया। फिर उसको याद आया कि हमारा माली है, वो मैट्रेस हल्की मैट्रेसेस का इस्तेमाल करता है जब ज़्यादा जाड़ा होता है तो पौधों को रात में ढकने के लिए, ताकि वो ख़राब ना हो। जल्दी से बरामदे में गई, उसमें से भी कुछ पीसेस उठा ले, पूरा हाथ उसका भर गया, और लेके जब वो वापस पहुंची कमरे में तो देखती क्या है, उसका सारा ये प्रयास, उसकी सारी खराब हो चुकी है, क्योंकि उसके पहुंचने के पहले सदा ऑपरेशन शुरू कर चुका है। और जो उसने घावों को पैक किया है उसके अंदर से खून रिस्क के पहले ही मैट्रेस के अंदर सोख चुका है, यानी जो होना था वो हो चुका है। न फर्श को बचाया जा सकता है और न ही मैट्रेस को। दिस वॉज ऑल दैट शी विटनेस्ड एट ऑल। सो दिस वॉज अबाउट द स्टोरी दैट वी हैड टू रीड टुडे। दिस इज द थर्ड वीडियो, आई थिंक। यस, दिस इज द थर्ड वीडियो। We have reached only less than half the story. The story is very interesting, and on the other hand, the story is too long also, the longest story of the book. It will take time, but there are certain limitations that we have to look to, and it is about the timing. If the videos are too long, it will be very difficult for us to upload them, and if it is too long, it will not be very good for the students also. In terms of understanding, you can understand in bits, that is always okay, but if the whole supply has come to you, perhaps there will be an abundance of overflow. To save this overflow, to save this tiresome business of overflowing of ideas, we'll stop here, but we'll continue on the next day also. Alternate days are fixed for the literature portion, and sure, we are going to continue in the next video. Open the description for difficult words and other things that are of greater importance for the story that are written in description. Don't forget to open the description and read it, first thing. And the second thing is that there are two links, at least two links in each video. One of the previous videos link, and one will be updated as soon as the next video is uploaded. You will find one link that is of the previous video, and after some time you will find the link of the next video also. Keep watching, keep joining us, keep subscribing and liking. That gives us vitality.